If you have been on the internet in the past 2 days, I'm sure you have seen dozens of videos and tweets accusing MrBeast member Kris Tyson on doing despicable things. It's all around a really confusing situation, but in today's video, I'll be discussing everything from what she did, her being exposed for messaging and meeting up with a minor, to what she's doing now. And lastly, if she's still a part of the MrBeast team after what has recently happened. Chapter 1, Kris Tyson and Shadman. Before we get into today's discussion, there are two important things to understand. First, we're talking about a particular type of Japanese manga that is explicit and features cartoon characters, often involving underage girls. This kind of content is highly problematic and raises serious moral and ethical concerns, both for those who create it and support it. And lastly, I do not support or condone any of the activity and behavior in this video. At the center of this story is a character known as Shadman. Once an average individual with a strong passion for art, Shadman's journey took a controversial turn when he enrolled at an art university in Switzerland, only to be expelled shortly after due to the discovery of illegal elements in his artworks at the time that were deemed hazardous to society. Following his expulsion from school, Shadman launched his own website where his disgusting art truly rose to fame. In 2011, Shadman ignited outrage from countless users online when he went on to create an artwork involving his own mother. However, this was just the beginning. On the 8th of November 2016, a Twitter user challenged him to draw Keemstar's then 7-year-old daughter in explicit scenarios with former President Donald Trump. In a shocking response, Shadman went on to fulfill this request if Trump won the election, which he did. And with that being said, he would then go on to post a series of highly inappropriate illustrations. And if you think things couldn't have gotten any worse, it unfortunately did. As on the 24th of January 2017, Shadman shared a piece involving child actress Daphne Keane, portraying her in severely exploitative and troubling situations, despite her only being 12 years old at the time. Shadman has a troubling history involving these disturbing themes, often targeting young girls in his work. The connections between Shadman and Kris ultimately become evident through another piece of Shadman's work, which was a drawing of a young girl in a distressing situation, depicted with symbols linked to autism and other uncomfortable themes. And you're most likely wondering how this involves Kris in any way possible. Well, on the 18th of November 2017, Kris went on to respond to one of Shadman's tweets on Twitter, seemingly making light of Shadman's work, stating that he personally owned a piece of Shadman's work and actively displayed it in his living room. And this can be further proven when a video was uploaded by MrBeast on the 24th of August 2017, and this video will be titled "Tipping Pizza Delivery Guys $10,000. But if you go to the 9-minute and 30-second mark in the video and look closely, and at the time Kris and MrBeast lived together in the same apartment, so it was evident that Kris supported Shadman's disgusting works. And shortly after, on the 17th of January 2018, Shadman tweeted out saying, "Remember this growing up? Me too. Check it out at Shadbase," with him linking his website below. And this tweet featured a photo of the 4-year-old cartoon character Kalilu with his mother. And obviously, we all know Shadbase is a website with very disgusting content involving children and comic book characters, and the tweet clearly referenced that. But instead of opposing it, Kris joined in and replied, "Help, I need an adult." I don't think there's any need to explain how crazy this stuff is, but what's even crazier is Kris's next tweet. Mabel and Dipper are 12-year-old siblings from a show called Gravity Falls, and on the 14th of July 2017, a user tweeted comics of these characters kissing, and Kris went on to reply to this tweet stating the following: "They are twins, so at this point, it's just right." I mean, it's pretty much just unbelievable to think that Kris was even tweeting about this, considering she was a part of one of the largest YouTube channels in the world at the time. And what stands out in this interaction is not just the bizarre nature of the tweets, but ultimately the character of Kris Tyson, whose online behavior has raised many eyebrows over the years. Despite the alarming content of her posts, Kris often deleted these tweets shortly after, and this pattern would go on to escalate into even more controversial tweets over time, as demonstrated on the 21st of June 2018, when she reacted to scenes involving Violet, a 14-year-old character from the movie Incredibles. Kris referred to Violet as low-key cute, which only compounded concerns given the age difference, considering Kris is a full-blown adult. Adding to the complexity of the situation was Kris's relationship with Shadman, when on the 16th of April 2019, during a live stream, Kris inadvertently navigated the Shadman's website and gave him a free shout out on Twitter, stating appreciation for his safe-to-work drawings. This friendly banter raises significant concerns about their association, particularly considering the context of Shadman's work. Then, furthermore, on the 25th of January 2019, Shadman shared an image of a character named Raphia from the Rising of the Shield Hero, showcasing her in two shockingly different ages, and these ages will be 10 and 17. Kris's response to Shadman, asking him to not post the content of the younger version, presents yet another troubling layer to their communications. The community community reacted strongly, understanding the implication of such interactions, given Shadman's background and shocking history of illegal artworks. However, the disgusting content and comments didn't stop there, as on the 24th of January 2020, Kris was engaged in yet another problematic scenario when a user shared an image of a girl in 2 different states of dress, and Kris went on to like the tweet, further implying that Kris was into this sort of shocking content. And through all of this, an alarming tweet that lacked context stated, "Nothing gets my knob cranking like some," did not help to clarify matters, basically confirming that she's a confirmed creep. While some may argue that these incidents are from years in the past and should be forgotten about, it is crucial to recognize that Kris Tyson appeared as a nominee at the Nickelodeon's Kids' Choice Awards, and the consequences of interacting with individuals like Shadman, who have been painted as preying on children, cannot be understated. Chapter 2, Kris messaging minors. And after all of these allegations of Kris being into animated kids and whatnot, if you think that that was the worst of it, you are far from the truth, as lately in the past 24 hours, there has been a 16-year-old boy come out stating that Kris Tyson has been talking to him since he was only 13 years old. Yes, you heard me, 13 years old. A few years back, Kris and a boy who goes by the name of Lava online began talking over Discord, when the conversation then turned over Snapchat, where they would chat, exchange snaps, and call almost on a daily basis. And keep in mind that when Kris was talking to this 13-year-old boy, he was actively in his 20s. Kris and Lava were going to discuss the anime interesting yet disturbing and downright shocking fantasies. And this went on for years, with Kris stating that she has to wait until Lava was 16 before they could hang out or do anything, so that Lava could be classified as someone who could legally give consent. And with that being said, after 3 years of chatting, Kris would then go on to pick up Lava in her camper van that she owned at the time, and would go on to drive out into the middle of a secluded forest with the boy. And what happened when they were on their trip is unknown to the public at this moment in time, but I'm sure it will be released to social media very shortly. And here is the YouTuber that originally exposed Kris Tyson for talking to the 13-year-old boy.
This ain't true. And this screenshot is Kris Tyson talking one-on-one with him. And at this point, he would have been 16. And here we go. Here is the picture of them meeting up together. I'm gonna censor his face. And as you can see right there, there's Carl right there. There's Kris Tyson right there. Kris Tyson was talking to this guy since he was 13. Kris Tyson was in college. And of course, the moment he was able to drive, he takes a camper van out in the middle of the woods, which, by the way, very secluded area. Let me talk about that. It's very unnecessary because there's RV parks, there's the Walmart parking lot, there's plenty of areas you can go instead of going to a place that's very unfamiliar to you to camp out there, especially in a secluded area. So the real question is, if he was talking to Kris Tyson, who is interested in both men and women, since he was 13 years old and Kris Tyson was in college, why did he take a camper van out to see him and take it out in the middle of the woods in this secluded area? And then he met up with him like 2 days later, like the picture was posted. It's, why did this happen? When you're talking about an inappropriate topic with someone who you know is 14 years old and you meet up in person, it all looks very suspicious. And that is why when we interviewed him, we were trying to ask if he had been molested or if someone had talked inappropriately to him, because we genuinely believe that something might have happened to him. Although he claims nothing happened, very well, there might have been nothing that ever happened, but still, talking about inappropriate topics with someone that you know is a middle schooler or someone that just entered in high school when you're like 7 years older, it is highly inappropriate, and that is illegal. That's not legal. It's not a legal thing to do.
And pretty much instantly after all this information got publicized to social media, it spread like absolute wildfire, as Kris was once a very notable member on the MrBeast team, and after putting everything into account, it does not look like Kris will be returning to the MrBeast team anytime soon, and most likely ever, as she is now a serious brand risk for MrBeast. And having somebody on his team such as Kris, who has been exposed to doing these despicable things, ultimately presents herself as a massive brand risk for MrBeast to have her in any future videos. And despite the fact that Jimmy and Kris have been friends for decades, it doesn't look like Jimmy can get Kris out of the hole she's dug herself in. And at this point in time, Kris has an actually responded to any of the allegations and evidence, as she knows deep down inside that she's in the wrong, as there was hundreds and hundreds of pieces of evidence against her. But instead of taking everything head on and admitting that she was wrong about everything, instead she went on to delete all of her tweets, posts, and replies on Twitter, and doesn't look like she'll be returning to the social media space anytime soon. And lastly, here are some of the things that some massive and notable content creators have said about Kris Tyson after discovering what an unhinged sick creep she really is.
There you go. Well, I'm personally in shock.
True. Nah, bro, I'm not gonna lie. The Kris situation's, bro. I wonder what MrBeast is gonna do.
Unless someone is like your cousin or related to you in some way, there is absolutely no reason that a 20-year-old needs to be having all these different private conversations with someone who's in middle school.
This entire situation prompts discussions about the dynamics between figures like Kris, and ultimately reflects broader issues about internet safety, particularly for younger audiences. With these kinds of comments being made online, it becomes very clear that while the internet may seem safe and secure, the truth is that the internet is truly a disturbing place with countless people in the spotlight who are really cruel people behind the scenes. And we can see this through Kris as a prime example. And lastly, as this narrative unfolds, it truly emphasizes the importance of navigating online spaces cautiously and remaining careful and aware about the content we encounter and share, and ultimately the people we engage with and actively follow on the internet. Thank you all for watching all the way until the end of the video. I really do appreciate any and all support, and by just simply liking, subscribing, and commenting a favorite moment from this video truly goes a long way and helps me out tremendously. And with that all being said, I really hope you'll have an amazing rest of your day. Laters.